There are few guitarists in rock history who understand the beauty of restraint, like David Gilmour. Every note he plays feels deliberate, emotional rather than technical, expressive rather than excessive. And throughout Pink Floyd's long, complex history, Gilmour has been at the center of its most transcendent musical moments. But among all the masterpieces he helped create, from Comfortably Numb to Echoes, from Time to Shine on You Crazy Diamond, there's one song that Gilmour himself has called a masterwork. A song that, in his own words, captured everything that made Pink Floyd timeless. That song was Wish You Were Here.
So you think you could tell?
Wish You Were Here wasn't written in a moment of inspiration. It was born from something heavier: absence. By 1975, Pink Floyd were one of the biggest bands in the world. Their previous album, The Dark Side of the Moon, had shattered every expectation, turning them from psychedelic pioneers into global icons. But fame didn't bring fulfillment. Instead, it created distance between the band members, between the music, and between who they once were and what they had become. Roger Waters, their main lyricist, began writing about that feeling: the disconnection of success, the hollowness of the industry, and the pain of losing someone who had once been the heart of the group. Syd Barrett. Barrett, their original frontman, had been the creative soul of early Pink Floyd, but his mental decline forced him to leave in 1968. By the time Wish You Were Here was being recorded, his absence still haunted them, and that became the emotional core of the album. The story goes that while the band was recording Shine on You Crazy Diamond, a song written for Barrett, a mysterious man wandered into Abbey Road Studios. He was bald, overweight, and silent. For several minutes, the band didn't recognize him, until someone realized it was Syd Barrett. He had come to visit them, but his eyes were distant, his mind somewhere else. David Gilmour later recalled, "It was shocking. He looked nothing like himself. It was heartbreaking." That surreal, painful moment only deepened the meaning of what they were creating. Later that same week, as Waters strummed the acoustic intro to Wish You Were Here, Gilmour began adding his delicate 12-string guitar. They weren't just recording another song, they were saying goodbye to the friend they'd lost, both in body and spirit. Wish You Were Here is deceptively simple, built on just a few chords, a gentle strumming pattern, and one of Gilmour's most heartfelt solos. There are no technical fireworks, no extended jams. Instead, it's the feeling that carries it, the longing, the nostalgia, the sense of something missing. In interviews, Gilmour said that was exactly the point. It's not about being clever, it's about emotion. That song, it just says everything that needed to be said. The opening guitar riff, played through a slightly detuned 12-string and filtered through a car radio effect, feels like a memory, something fading in from another time. Then Gilmour's voice joins, rough yet tender, singing words that could have come from anyone who's ever lost something precious. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. It's universal, yet deeply personal. The beauty of Wish You Were Here lies not in its complexity, but in its honesty. For David Gilmour, Wish You Were Here became more than just a song. It was a reflection of Pink Floyd's soul. He once said in an interview, "That song is a masterwork. Roger's lyrics, the melody, the atmosphere. It captures who we were and what we felt at that moment." It's rare for Gilmour to praise any song in such absolute terms. He's always been humble about his work, often crediting the band as a whole rather than himself. But when he talks about Wish You Were Here, there's a quiet pride, not ego, but understanding. It was a moment when everything aligned: Waters' emotional lyricism, Gilmour's guitar and voice, Richard Wright's soft keyboard textures, and Nick Mason's gentle percussion. Together, they created something timeless, a sound that felt both intimate and infinite. Even decades later, Wish You Were Here remains a defining song for both the band and its fans. When Gilmour performs it live, whether with Pink Floyd, solo, or alongside other musicians, the crowd doesn't just listen, they feel it. It's become an anthem for loss, memory, and the unspoken bond between people separated by time or circumstance. In 2005, during the Live 8 reunion, the surviving members of Pink Floyd played together for the first time in over 20 years. When they performed Wish You Were Here, it felt like a full circle. A song about absence finally bringing them together again, if only for a moment. Afterward, Gilmour said quietly, "That song still means everything to me. It's the heart of what we did." What makes Wish You Were Here so powerful is that it speaks beyond its era. It's not just about Pink Floyd, it's about anyone who's lost connection, anyone who's wished someone was still there. Gilmour once reflected, "You can be surrounded by people, by success, by everything you ever wanted, and still feel completely alone." That's what the song understood. In many ways, Wish You Were Here represents the duality of Pink Floyd. Grandeur and vulnerability, intellect and emotion, sound and silence. It's a rare moment when every element of their art, the lyrics, the music, the emotion, came together perfectly. That's why, even after decades of masterpieces, David Gilmour still calls it a masterwork. Because it wasn't just the sound of a band at its creative peak, it was the sound of truth. Wish You Were Here isn't just a song you listen to, it's one you live through. And for Gilmour, it will always be the moment when Pink Floyd found beauty in absence, harmony in heartbreak, and immortality in music.